We are so thrilled to be here today to recognize the federal government's contribution of $7.5 million to our partner, Kids Help Phone, who literally stands up for youth across the country every day, including newcomers. There is a tremendously difficult statistic that shows that we have had a 10% increase amongst newcomers in suicide ideation and calling Kids Help Phone to talk about that. That requires action and support. Our youth are challenged and governments are stepping up to fund, and we are working in collaboration for this really difficult challenge, but together we can make a big difference.
This is the kind of announcement that we love to make. This is Achieve and coming together with Kids Help Phone. Our government is providing $7.5 million. Where will that money go? It will go to support more kids that can call the phone 24/7. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if they are going through some sort of mental health crisis, they have somewhere to turn. And that's really, really important. The bulk of the kids, as we're learning today, that call in are from newcomer communities. They are also from racialized communities. We're hearing all sorts of numbers that are actually unconscionable. They're so high. So many kids need this, and we are more than happy to help provide. The other thing that I would quickly say is that this $7.5 million provides support for people that are on the front lines, the people that are taking care of those young people that are calling in. And that's important too. So thrilled to be here today with my colleagues, with the Minister of Diversity and Inclusion, as well as Disabilities, Kamal Khera, and MPs Sidhu, as well as MP Sohota, in support of this announcement.
ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਅਚੀਵ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ settlement agency ਹੈਗੀ ਆ that provides services to so many members of our community right here in the region of Peel, and we have announced ਕਿ ਆਹ particular budget ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ $7.5 million ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ Kids Help Phone ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ it's a 24/7 all throughout 24/7 the whole year round they provide services particularly to young Canadians that are going through a tough time, that are going through to make sure that they get the mental health support that they need. Particularly ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਅੰਦਰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਿਊਕਮਰਸ ਲਈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ racialized community members ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, immigrant family members ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਉਹ mental health support ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ। ਸਾਡੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ particularly ਜੇ mental health ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਈਏ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ community organizations ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। In fact ਪਿਛਲੇ ਬਜਟ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ $25 billion ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ as part of our $200 billion in healthcare, ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ $500 million ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ in youth mental health. But this announcement really is to make sure we're supporting young Canadians right across our communities, and I know this is going to make a huge impact in our community right here in the region of Peel.
Hi, good morning. This is Nitin Chopra from Prime Minister TV. No question, just appreciation like what Achieve is doing in the community for the newcomers is really appreciable, and we want claps for them because it's a great work they are doing for such a long time. And also the government of Canada, we would like to see these kind of investment because mental crisis is a serious concern. We have seen for last many years, and these kind of investment, even if it is late, but we really welcome these kind of investment in our communities, our societies. It will help for the generations, for the future, as you already all of them mentioned. And Canadians want to see this because my colleague, he already asked those kind of questions like what will be the election, irrespective of any elections, any results, but we want to see the Canadians should not suffer, and we need the government's help into this, either any level of government, work together and work for the Canadians. Really appreciate Government of Canada and Achieve. Thank you.
My background is Trinidadian, and so my parents came here some 60 years ago. And it was all about building a better life for my sister and for me. And it was about work and hard work. There was no time for anything but work. And so if ever there was a time to mention mental health, if there ever was a time where I felt, and I'm speaking from a personal standpoint, that I didn't feel strong or I didn't feel right, that's not something that would have been welcomed by my parents. It is about, when you are a child of immigrants, it is about, we came here with $2 in our pocket. We are working day and night, and we don't really want to hear it. I think it's important to say, because your point about mental health and everybody that's spoken today is a good one, but for newcomers in particular who are building a life and there's so many pressures, there is so much about kids not being able to say how they feel. And if they're not feeling well, and to have a place to go, to have a place to turn, to have support, it's really, really important. And I am saying that as a child of immigrants. My parents were like, yeah, just keep working. We don't want to hear it. Just keep, make sure you have good grades. Keep doing what you have to do. So it's important to have these resources for those kids in particular. So thank you.
Thank you. And Canada is full of these stories where either it's Tony or Moya or Ruby and Kamal, from where they stand and where they are today. Immigrants are there. Where we are today, this country made all of us, but we request Government of Canada also to work. What is the cause of the mental health? Investment is one part, but working on the issues, working last few years, what happened to Canada, where the crime is, every single day, what is happening in the society. We want Government of Canada to work on this, irrespective. The results will come soon if we work together, the media, the platforms, the Achieve and government, all levels, so that this society is our, future generation is ours, and we want to make it clean. We know the negative wave going around, but we can crush that with the positive attitude like these kind of investment into the society, and more work to be done by the governments. Thank you.
We serve over 100,000 clients a year, most of whom are newcomers, and almost 15% are Canada's youth. Achieve provides a wide range of services, including job search, settlement, mentoring, upskilling, and wraparound supports. Our frontline staff have identified the mental health and well-being as the biggest challenges many of our youth clients and other clients face today. Unfortunately, accessing supports can be challenging for them, and that's where our great partner, Kids Help Phone, comes in. Kids Help Phone has seen a 10% increase in the number of newcomers reaching out to Kids Help Phone texting services about suicide over the last 2 years. Those numbers are devastatingly shocking. Without the types of free resources that Achieve and Kids Help Phone provide, thanks to the government, many of these newcomers and disadvantaged youth would have nowhere else to turn. We're incredibly grateful for the federal government for today's announcement on mental health supports and crisis services that support Kids Help Phone in fulfilling their essential mandate to provide a safe place for Canada's youth to feel out loud.
That is why in Budget 2024, we put forward $7.5 million to support Kids Help Phone in its work providing mental health, counseling, and crisis support to young people. That's right. These funds will allow them to continue to broaden the service delivery of 24/7 mental health support for kids. As well, it will also help them ensure that life-saving services are reaching some of the most vulnerable kids, including racialized minorities and newcomers, and which we know are so important for communities like ours in the region of Peel. At the same time, we also know these funds will also allow Kids Help Phone to better collect and analyze data so that we can better understand the problems facing young people. And finally, with this investment, will help support absolutely the incredible staff and volunteers at Kids Help Phone, because we know that in order to look after others, you need to be looking after yourself. I can tell you as a nurse myself, we know just how big of an impact of this investments is going to be when it comes to making life more fair for young people right here in the region of Peel. And I'm so proud to, alongside this incredible team that I know is here, and many of you are providing services to Canadians every single day in our community. And it's hard work. So I just want to take a moment just to say thank you to all the incredible staff that have also joined us, to the leadership that is behind, to the kids and volunteers that day in and day out are doing everything that they can to support young people and Canadians in this community. Because I think it's end of the day, it's upon all of us to build a Canada that is both supportive and that is resilient, so that every child in our country can grow to fulfill their potential.
I am so happy to be here, but in this room, I can feel the passion, but I also know that there's advocacy, and that is so, so important. You're advocates for youth mental health. And when I travel the country as Minister of Youth and I talk to kids and I talk to their parents and caregivers, mental health is the number one issue. And as Kamal rightly pointed out, it was an issue before the pandemic. It became more of an issue after it. And I don't need to tell you that, Kathy. So as Minister Karen mentioned, the challenges facing our youth are more complex than ever. And sometimes it is just about sharing. It's about being able to pick up a phone at whatever time of day and talk to somebody on the other end that understands, that can lend a hand, because we've seen it time and time again that sometimes home isn't a safe place. Sometimes, there isn't a place to go. There isn't someone to call, but there is, and that would be Kids Help Phone. So thank you very, very much. The numbers are stark, and I'm going to repeat them because they bear repeating. Kids Help Phone has seen a 144% increase in calls since the pandemic began. 144%. That is kids who aren't sure what to do, who have anxiety about climate change, about war, about who they might face when they walk into a school. Will they be bullied or not? I have to apologize, and I will do so, that I was at a Pride brunch a little earlier, and so I peeled into the parking lot at about 1:59, which is why we were a little late starting. But I mentioned that because there's a youth ambassador for Toronto Pride this year, and when you listen to the bullying, when you listen to all of the things that people like that and youth like that have to go through, it's hard. And it's good that they have a place to turn. It's good that they have a place to call. Because beyond all the numbers that we've talked about are real stories. And believe them, we've all heard them, and you hear them on a daily basis. These aren't just about statistics. These are our kids. These are students. This is our future. That's why today's conversation that we're having right now, an announcement, is so important. The $7.5 million from Budget 24 dedicated to Kids Help Phone is really a critical investment in our young people. This funding will expand service delivery, ensuring 24/7 access to bilingual mental health supports, and that is via voice, it is via text, it's online counseling. It continues, and it will grow. It will enhance outreach, reaching more young people. Kamal outlined those particularly in marginalized communities, including racialized minorities, newcomers, gender diverse youth.
At Kids Help Phone, a typical day at Kids Help Phone is young people coming to us from every corner of the country, as young as 5, all the way through to about 28 or 29 years old. That's a typical day for Kids Help Phone. We know that 9% of our service users self-identify as being newcomers to Canada. And to put some perspective on that, because numbers can just be numbers, but as you said, they are points of courage to us at Kids Help Phone. So 9% of service in 2023 alone, we interacted with young people more than 4.7 million times. So that is pretty powerful when you think of 9% being newcomer young people. And here to me, which is so important, is it's their courage and their trust being met with a safe place for them to go.
Just to Achieve and to Kids Help Phone, I really want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your journey and your stories with us. So many of the volunteers that work with Achieve and with Kids Help Phone sometimes interact and cross paths with the volunteers that work in many of our campaigns or offices, and we hear so many stories from all of them. So from the bottom of my heart, there are times when we don't know who to turn to, and I'm just so grateful and so happy that we can turn towards you, and I know you will guide them in the right direction.
70% of youth breaking the stigma, this is a huge. And thank you all the work you're doing, and this government has your back. Thank you so much.